Okay, welcome, welcome. Friends online, welcome, welcome. We're going to run through a 60-minute power flow yoga class today. So just bring yourself up to standing when you're ready. And you can line your feet up on parallel at hip bone distance, or you can bring your big toes together and put some space back between your heels, whatever feels best to you. Take an inhale and just bring your shoulder heads high up towards your ears. Exhale, roll your shoulders down away from the ears on the back and just close your eyes, relax your arms. Start to find a deeper breath. And then take a second and just lift your toes up off the ground and spread out through your toes. And then when you bring the toes back into the floor, just feel spread out a little more into all corners of your feet. As we come up the legs, just check if your knees are locked, add a little bit of softness to them. And then with your pelvis, the tailbone can pull slightly down towards your heels, lengthening your low back, and you can feel your low abdominals tone slightly in. And then we've got the length all the way up through the back of the neck here. Excellent. We'll move into an organized deeper breath. So this is Dirga Swasam Pranayama, a 3-part breath. So join me by releasing your air all the way down to empty. Breathe into your low belly for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe into your mid-abdomen for 1, 2, 3, and hold. Breathe all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Once you've got the full breath, just relax around it. And then like you were quieting a child on your exhale, shh. So breathe in low belly, low back. Breathe into your mid-abdomen and your mid-back. Breathe all the way to the chest, all the way to the shoulders. Hold the full breath, relax. And then we'll do that same exhale, slow and controlled. Shh. Breathe in through the nose like you were sipping through a straw, filling from the bottom to the top. And on your exhale, just out the nose like you're fogging up a mirror, slowly down to empty. Keep this breath going in and out through the nose by way of the back of the throat. This is Ujjayi Pranayama. And we take our breath, which our body can automatically do without us thinking about it. We take the breath and we start to think about it. We start to apply our focus. We start to apply technique to it. And as we take the breath into our control, we are asking our mind to start to engage. And we're starting to ask our mind to engage with our own bodies. And so in yoga, we have this mind, body, soul connection. So right here, just with engaging your breath, you're starting to work that connection. So take what works from me today, leave the rest behind, and just allow your breath to be your guide through our practice. Eyes come open to a soft gaze up front. And then on your inhale, lengthen and lift the arms up tall in space. Breathe in, mountain. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips and just control your swan dive down into a forward fold. Inhale halfway up, and we'll hold this for a couple rounds of breath. So hands to your shins or your thighs. Gaze is down. Shoulder blades tone in like you've got a pencil you're squeezing between them. Find the length through the back of the neck. We'll take one more inhale to create that extension, that lift, and on your exhale, just slowly fold down. Let your fingertips come all the way to the ground, so bend your knees as much as you need to allow that. And then just give your head a slow nod, yes. If your big toes are together, this part might feel better if your feet are at hip bone distance. Stay with your breath. Just take a slow side-to-side nod, no. And then bring your left fingertips just to the center. And then we're going to bend deep into the left knee and reach your right arm up tall in space as you press into that right heel, lengthening the right leg. And there should just be a nice stretch on the outside of the right leg and down the back of it to breathe into here. So again, pressing into your left fingertips, maybe your fist or your palm even, bending the left knee and then just pressing down into that right heel, reaching through the right arm. Take one more breath here, and on the exhale, we'll fold, release the head down, and switch that up. So right fingertips, fists, or palm into the center. Bend deep into your right knee. Lengthen your left leg, pushing down into your left heel. Reach up through your left arm, gazes to the left. And find your breath as we get that nice stretch in the back of the leg, in the side of the leg, all the way up into your hip. And then a nice twist through the chest here and through the back to breathe into. And one more inhale just lengthens and lifts the left arm. And on your exhale, we'll fold forward. You can keep your feet at hip bone distance or bring the big toes back together. Vertebrae by vertebrae, start to roll up to standing, letting your head be the very last thing that comes up. And then when your head comes up, inhale to reach your arms wide, stretch up tall. And on your exhale, cactus your arms. Squeeze your shoulder blades in towards one another. Bend your knees just a little bit. And then we'll start to just lift up through the chest here. So we're taking a supported back bend, staying with your breathing. Feeling those shoulder blades creating this shelf that you gets to support you as you're taking the chest up and leaning slightly back. Awesome. Inhale to reach back up tall in space. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips, swan dive, forward fold. Inhale halfway up to lengthen and strengthen your spine. And then plant the hands, and we'll come back to a plank position and lower down onto our knees and do some warm up for the wrists. So once you find your tabletop, just turn your insides of the wrists forward to the front of the room. Your fingers point back, and then your thumbs point to the side. And you can rock back in space, working with your breath, peeling the hands off the mat to your fingertips, and then slowly rock back forward. So you get that full massage through your fingers, circle of the palm, wrists all the way up into your forearms. And we'll take that a couple times. And then you can take the back of your hands into the ground. You can do the same thing where you're just leaning back in space, lifting back to your fingernails, and then just rolling back forward, giving a little massage into the back of the hands here. And then eventually we're going to meet up in hero's pose. So knees come together, sit bones back towards your heels, and just give a roll out into your wrists. Move through your fingers, move through your hands, move through your arms. Beautiful. We'll take it into our plank position, just leaning forward into our tabletop, and then bringing the hips off the floor. You also, if you want, could drop your knees and cross your ankles, but either way, we just want to create this length through the back of the neck, and then bring our hips so that we create a nice line either from the knees through the back of the head or from the heels through the back of the head. Okay, awesome. Your next exhale, just lower halfway down. And then on your inhale, lift back up, so just a push up. We'll take that again. Exhale, come halfway down, leaning forward with your sternum. Inhale, lift back up. This is the last one. Exhale, come halfway down. Inhale, take it back up. On this exhale, slowly lower all the way down to the ground. And then once you tap down, we're going to slide the palms a little lower. And for low cobra, squeeze your elbows in so shoulder blades come in. And start to lift your chest up off of the ground. You're pressing into the tops of your feet, the shoelace side of your feet here. And then just lifting up through the chest, finding that length through the back of the neck. Hogging into those back muscles, using the core muscles. Awesome. On your next exhale, lower down. And then to make your way to down dog, you move through plank or your tabletop, shifting your hips back and up in space. And however you want to warm up the down dog, please feel free just to walk slowly out through it. So you can drop the weight into one heel as you bend through opposite knee. Or if there's another technique you want to use, please feel free to use it. And then as you start to hold your down dog, spread out into your palms. Your hands are slightly wider than your shoulders. If your elbows are locked, just add a micro bend, and then the biceps tone into center line. And as you release the weight of your head, pretend that you're holding tennis balls in between your biceps and your ears. So your biceps are pinning those tennis balls into place. And then lift the hips up nice and tall, and just release your heels back down behind you, and start to stretch your heels back down behind you. So we've got a lot of strength inside of this downward facing dog as we're creating that length in the spine and as we're creating that length in the back of the legs. On an inhale, take the right leg back up tall in space, so three-legged downward facing dog. Just a diagonal line, reaching from the hands all the way up. Let the front of your right hip point down to the ground as you lift that leg back and up in space. So imagine a pair of scissors opening from one another, and rather than the blades facing different directions, they face the same directions as they separate out in space. And on your exhale, we're going to bring the knee over to your right elbow or tricep into a three-legged plank. And you just hold here for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach back up. And on your exhale, cross the knee over to your left elbow or tricep, holding in for 5, 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale, reach it back up. And on your exhale, bring your knee into your forehead, round through the spine here. Back heel comes high. 3, 2, 1 more inhale, reaches the right leg back and up. And on the exhale, we're going to work up to our low lunge position. Once you've got your low lunge position in place, just take a moment and warm your hips up here. So this can look like a number of different ways. You might rock a little forwards and backwards, or let your hips move a little side to side. You could drop your back knee down to the ground. That's one that I love. And you might lift up into a kneeling lunge for a moment, pressing into your right thigh. Or you might move more towards that half splits, letting your sit bone come back towards your heel. Just a little bit of warm up through your hips and through your legs here before we move into a high crescent lunge position. And then when you're ready for it, we'll find that low lunge, so just your back knee is lifted. Take your time. And then start to inhale and reach your arms up nice and tall in space. So find a high crescent lunge position. Back left heel is pulling forward. You're on the ball of the left foot. Your thighs are toning in to meet one another. You're pressing down strong into that right heel, gripping through your right toes. And then you're squeezing all the way back up into your right glute, pulling up and back in space. Pinkies are forward, thumbs are back. Biceps tone in to face one another. Pull back to frame your ears. Shoulder heads down away from the ears in the back. Breathe in here, and on your exhale, we're just going to go to what I call a flying lunge, where your spine goes to a diagonal, and then your arms reach back in space. Elbows lift slightly up, so the elbows are slightly bent. Shoulder blades tone in, and fingers are reaching back. So we're going to do that one. Inhale, come back up in space. And then exhale, move into your flying lunge. We're going to do that one more time. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Exhale, flying lunge. Warrior 2 from here when you're ready. So knife edge of your left foot to the ground, left arm back, right arm forwards. Lengthen your stance out a little bit. And you're lengthening to the point where you've got the knee right over your heel, front knee over your heel. And then we've got that right thigh coming more parallel to the ground here. And we've got the right sit bone tucked underneath the body. You're pressing strong down into the knife edge of the left foot. And then we're lifting up through the spine and extending the arms out to the front and back of the room. And we add a little bit of that lift up through our chest here, where the shoulder heads just relax slightly down away from the ears on the back. So a strong pose to sit and breathe into. Beautiful, friends. Your next exhale will come forward, extended side angle pose. So just right forearm to right thigh, or right arm down the length of the right leg. Left arm can pull straight up in space or can reach out on a diagonal from your back left leg. If you felt your left hip pop up, pull that left hip back down on level with your right hip. Keep that strength through your legs. And remember, this is a lift through your inner side body as you're leaning, taking your body weight forward. So you're really pressing down into that right thigh through your right forearm. On your inhale, we're going to open up to a star. This is facing over to the left side of the room. So all 10 toes point to the left, arms open wide. Breathe in. And on your exhale, take it into a wide-legged squat horse. So your heels come in underneath your knees. Your feet are going out at 45. Take your hands onto your thighs and just take a moment and just shift your hips a little bit side to side here, just warming up through your hips. And then we'll do some twisting for our back here. So on an inhale, your spine just straight up in space. And as you exhale, take your left shoulder to your right knee, so twisting towards the front of the room. Your inhale brings the spine back up tall in space. And on your exhale, right shoulder, left knee towards the back of the room. Let's do that one more time each side. So inhale, lift up. And then on your exhale, twist forward. Inhale, lift up. Exhale, twist backwards. Nice, friends. So inhale to come all the way back up into your star shape. So your legs are wide, arms lift up. And on your exhale, warrior two to the front of the mat. So right toes forward, right arm forward, left arm backwards. Turn your right palm to the sky, left hand to your hip thigh or behind you. Start to lift it up into our reverse warrior. And if you find yourself lifting out of your lunge as you're reaching the right arm up, let's press down into the lunge. Feel your thighs toning in. Press back down into that left foot. And then right arm is lifting up tall and is reaching back behind you in space, maybe a little bit of a bend through your elbow. So nice opening from the right hip crease up through your right side body and the rib cage out through your fingers, and then just bringing that knee right over your heel. Fantastic. Your next exhale, you can cartwheel your hands down to frame the right foot. Turn onto the ball of the left. Bring your gaze up in space, and then we're going to step up into a chair. So left foot meets your right. And as we come into Utkatasana, if you're doing your big toes together, you want to bring your ankle bone, knees, and thighs to press in. Or if you have things at hip bone distance, we want to avoid knees bowing in or bowing out, so leave the feet at hip bone distance. Sit bones are drawing back in space. And as you're leaning back in space, we're reaching up through the arms, biceps pulling back to frame ears, shoulders down away from the ears in the back. You can open your arms up wider if that helps you to get that shape in your back. And then we did flying lunge earlier. We're going to take this chair, and on an exhale, flying chair, reach your arms back and lift your heels. Again, add that little bit of a bend into your elbows. They're slightly lifting up. Shoulders are toning in. Fingers are reaching back. Watch that your chest isn't dipping down. Your chest is smiling to the front of the room. And then we'll do that 2 more times. So inhale to reach back up into your chair. Exhale, flying chair. One more time like that. Inhale, reach up, chair. Exhale, flying chair. Awesome, friends. Drop your right heel, arms and left knee lift up, one-legged mountains. We're playing with our balance here. Left knee bent at 90, thigh bone plugged into your hip, rooting down into that big right toe, lifting up through the spine, lifting up through the chest, lifting up through the arms. Excellent. So once we've got this in place, we're going to swim it back and find Dakasana airplane, where your left leg reaches back, arms reach back, elbows slightly lifted, shoulder blades toned in. Play with your balance. If you fall out of it, no worries. And then we're going to do that 2 more times. So you inhale to reach back up into one-legged mountain, bringing arms and left knee. And then exhale to swim back into airplane, smiling the chest forward. 1 more time. Inhale, come up one-legged mountain. Exhale, swim back into airplane. Awesome. Inhale to come back up into that one-legged mountain. And then on the exhale, just bring your foot to the floor, dial your hands into your heart center. If you want, you can give your right leg a little bit of a shake out after we've been standing on it. Perfect. And then at the top of your diving board, an inhale brings us up into mountain, stretching up tall in space. And on the exhale, hinge out from your hips. Control your swan dive to your forward fold, releasing the head at the bottom. Inhale halfway up to lengthen through your spine. On the exhale, refold. If your feet are not at hip bone distance, take them to hip bone distance, and we'll find a ragdoll frame. Opposite hand to the outside of opposite elbow or bicep. And then just let your torso gently sway or gently rock. The weight of the head just gets to relax out while you're here. Feel that length through the back of your legs. Feel that stretch through your spine. And that nice deep breathing. The end of your next breath, just release your hands down to the ground, and we'll step back into a plank position. So you can shift right down to down dog if you want, or on an exhale, we can lower halfway down, and then you could do low cobra, or this time we could do upward facing dog, where you press to the tops of your feet, lift up through your chest, tone the shoulder blades in. Beautiful. And then when you're ready, tuck through the toes and pull it back up into your down dog. And then find those alignment and those engagement points in your down dog where, again, we're creating strength around the pose as we find length through our spine and length down through the back of the legs. This time we'll inhale to reach the left leg back up tall in space. Diagonal line from your hands all the way, pressing through your heel, pressing through the ball of the foot. Front of your left hip, and the front of your left thigh pointing down and back. So take a deep breath into it. And on your exhale, pull your left knee to your left elbow or tricep. Hold in for 5, 4. Stay with the breath. 2, 1. Inhale, extend back up. And on the exhale, take the knee over to the right elbow or tricep. Holding in for 5, 4, 3, 2, and inhale reaches us back up. And on your exhale, draw your knee to your forehead, rounding your spine back. Heel lifts tall. 4, 3, 2, 1. Inhale back up, three-legged down dog. And on your exhale, step up into your low lunge position. Once you got your knee over your heel, we're just going to warm up again through it. So no exact cues, just some ideas, forwards and backwards through your hips, or feeling out to the sides, or letting that back knee drop down. And again, I kind of love this move in between our low lunge, even pressing into your left thigh, or dropping your sit bones back in space, finding more of that half splits. Nice. Find that last little stretch here, whatever you're working with. And then you just start to build your way back into a low lunge position. So left knee above left heel. Ball the right foot to the ground, right knee off the floor. Inhale brings us into a high crescent lunge position where that right heel is pulling forward in space on the ball of the right foot. Awesome. Left knee right over your left heel. Staying playful with your balance as we come up into this. Feeling those thighs engaging to center line, pressing down into your left heel, gripping through your left toes, strong through the lower upper left leg, and then your left glute is pulling back up towards you. And then we'll take this, and on your exhale, we're going to go into that flying lunge, where the spine's on the diagonal, length is through the back of the neck, elbows slightly lifting, shoulders toned in, fingers extending back. Inhale brings you back up, high crescent lunge. Exhale is flying lunge. We got one more time like that. Inhale brings us up, high crescent lunge. Exhale is our flying lunge. You can go to warrior 2 from here on your inhale. So drop the knife edge of the right foot to the ground. Right arm back, left arm forward. Make any adjustments through the stance that you need here. So maybe lengthen a little bit if you want. Your heels are in one line from the front of the mat to the back. And then as you reach forward through your left arm, extend back through your right. Gaze just shoots out across your front fingertips here. Feel the press down through both of the legs, those thighs toned in as you find the hips dropping a little bit into it. So lots of stability inside of this stretch. On the next exhale, we can take our warrior 2, hinge forward, and work with extended side angle pose. pressing that left forearm to the left thigh, or whatever variation you did if you did left arm down the inside of your left leg. Right arm can go straight up in space, or it can pull out on a diagonal. And again, this is a lift through your inner side body. So we're not just leaning forward, we're taking the weight forward, and then as you press into the thigh, we're lifting away from the thigh. You got it. Stay with your breathing. Okay, so next inhale is your star facing to the right. So all 10 toes face to the right, legs are wide, arms open. Breathe into it, and when that exhale comes, find your horse, your wide-legged squat. So you bring the heels in. Awesome. So this time we're going to hold our horse. You can have your hands at heart center, or hands to your hips, or hands to your thighs. As you are lowering down into this, your spine is up nice and tall in space. If you want to challenge a little bit, you could lift your heels off the ground. So you're on the balls of your feet. You might step your legs in a little closer. You could even extend your arms out to the sides, the front and back of the room at this point. Shoulder blades toning in. And just stay with that breathing. You got it. Inhale two back to the front of the room. Turn your left palm to the sky, right hand to your hip, thigh, or behind you, and just create your reverse warrior, reaching up through that left arm as you press into your lunge. Your knee right over your heel. Keep the strength of your back leg into play here so your thighs can pull in towards center line. Gaze might come up, right shoulder relaxes away from that right ear. Take a breath into it, and on your exhale, just cartwheel your hands down to frame the left foot. Turn onto the ball of the right. Bring the gaze up a little bit, and then we're going to step up into our chair, so right foot meets the left. Again, if you've got big toes together, ankle bone, knees, and thighs together, if you're working with things at hip bone distance, we want to keep everything at hip bone distance. And you're lowering into the strength of your legs, into the strength of your glutes. Okay, breathe in, and on your exhale, let's take that flying chair. Lifting the heels, reaching the arms back, toning shoulder blades in, lifting up through elbows. And then 2 more times like that. So when you're ready, inhale chair, drop heels, lift up. And then exhale flying chair. One more time, you got this. Inhale, drop heels, lift arms up. Exhale, flying chair. So this time you can let your left heel come to the ground, and you're going to stand up on your left leg, bringing arms and right knee up to one-legged mountain. One thing that can help with balance is finding that point in front of you that's not moving, that you've got your gaze fixed on. And another one that I always say is just stay playful with your balance. Have fun with it. All right, so we're going to go here, and on your exhale, take Dakasana. This is airplane. Arms back, right leg back, chest shines forward. Feel those toes or the ball of the foot reaching back behind you, front of that right hip bone pointing down, and then inhale brings us back up, and we're doing that 2 more times. Exhale, swim back into airplane. 1 more time, friends. Inhale, come back up, one-legged mountain. Exhale, swim back into airplane. One more one-legged mountain on your inhale. And then when your exhale comes, just release that right foot down to the ground. You can give your left leg a little bit of a shake out, a little bit of release if you want, or both of your feet, both of your legs. Nice, and then just come to the top of your diving board. On your inhale, arms wide and tall, extend into mountain. Exhale, hinge out and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale, halfway up, lengthen your spine. And then plant your hands, and you can step or float back into your plank position. Go right to down dog, or you could exhale halfway down to Chaturanga Dandasana. You could go low cobra, or I'm taking up dog on the inhale. We meet back in our downward facing dog on that exhale. Find a couple rounds of breath in down dog, and then we're going to go breath to movement. So an inhale brings us to one pose, and exhale brings us to the next pose. All right, here we go. On an inhale, lift the right leg up tall, three-legged down dog. And as you exhale, bring the knee to your right elbow or tricep. Inhale, right leg, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee, left elbow, tricep. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to forehead, hip go high. Inhale, three-legged dog. And then exhale, low lunge position. Inhale brings us into our high crescent lunge. And then exhale to your flying lunge. Warrior two on your inhale, left arm back, knife edge of the left foot to the ground, right arm forward, and then exhale, extended side angle pose. Inhales to your star, facing to the left side of the room, and then exhale into your wide-legged squat, your horse. Inhale back into your star, and on your exhale, warrior two to the front of the mat. Inhale reverses your warrior, and on the exhale, cartwheel down, low lunge position. Gaze comes up, inhale as chair, arms lift, left foot meets right. And exhale, flying chair, lift the heels, arms back. Drop your right heel, inhale, arms and left knee up, one-legged mountain. And then exhale, airplane, swim leg and arms back. Inhale, one-legged mountain, arms and left knee lift. And on the exhale, just bring the foot to the ground, hands into your heart center. Inhale, lift up into mountain. We'll do the other side. Exhale, hinge out from the hips and swan dive, forward fold. Inhale brings you halfway up, lengthen through the spine. And then plant the hands, step back to your plank. Exhale, halfway down, or however you want to take this. Inhale, upward facing dog. Exhale is our down dog. Here's our left side, friends. Inhale, left leg lifts up, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee over to your left elbow or tricep. Inhale, three-legged down dog. Exhale, knee to right elbow or tricep. Inhale, back up. Exhale, knee to your forehead, round spine, back heel high. One more inhale to three-legged down dog. And then low lunge on your exhale. Nice. Inhale, high crescent lunge. Exhale, flying lunge. Warrior two on the inhale, right arm back, left arm forward. And then exhale to your extended side angle pose. On your inhale, open to your star, now facing to the right. And as you exhale, wide-legged squat, our horse. On the inhale, open back up to the star. And as you exhale, take that warrior two to the front of your mat. Inhale, reverse your warrior. And on the exhale, cartwheel the hands down into a low lunge. Gaze comes up, inhale, chair, right foot meets the left, arms lift. And then exhale, flying chair, lift the heels, send the arms back. Drop your left heel, inhale, arms and right knee, one-legged mountain. Exhale, airplane, swim arms and right leg back. Inhale, back up, one-legged mountain. And on the exhale, plant the foot to the ground. Take the hands into your heart center. Inhale, mountain. Exhale, swan dive, uttanasana. Inhale, half lift, Ardha Uttanasana. Plant the hands, go to plank. You can go right to down dog or exhale, chaturanga, halfway down. You could inhale, up dog, Urdhva Mukha Svanasana. And we meet in down dog, Adho Mukha Svanasana. Take a deep breath into that down dog. And then sigh out the mouth with the exhale. Find your child's pose, knees out wide. Tops of the feet to the ground, big toes together, sit bones to your heels. Forehead relaxed, arms relaxed. Letting the weight of the body just release to the ground and feeling your breath. Feeling that flow of air, that movement of prana. And letting your mind just revolve around this simple activity of breathing. On your inhale, lift back up to your tabletop position, and then just drop your hips to the ground. Swing your legs forward in space, and just take the weight down onto your back. Draw your knees in towards your chest as you release the weight of your head, and just give a little side-to-side rock. And we're going to move into a part of class where we're just going to work with our core muscles. We're going to work our core muscles. And we're going to be in a few different positions, and we'll do movement, and then we'll do hold, and then we'll do movement. So the first position is where your legs are just straight up in space. And then you're going to be doing a crunch where you're lifting your head and shoulders off the ground. Your movement piece are toe touches, so you can release your head down, breathe in, and as you exhale, reach your hands up towards your toes. Inhale brings you back down. I want you to take this movement at your own pace, toe touching, lifting up on the exhales. Perfect. So when you're ready, let's just hold. Bring those arms straight up in space. Gazes forward. If you need support for your neck, just hold one hand behind the base of the skull. But feel that flexion through the core muscles here, and stay with your breathing. Nice. Let's go back into our toe touches just for the last little bit. Back into your movement. Nice. Last one. Nice. Bring the bottoms of the feet together. Let the knees open wide into Supta Baddha Konasana. Relax your arms where it feels comfortable. Release the weight of your head. Find that deep Ujjayi breathing. Nice inhales, nice exhales. Awesome, friends. So our next piece is we are going to work with a reverse tabletop. So your knees are bent at 90, bottoms of the feet are going forward, head and shoulders off the mats, and then we're going to work through some bicycles. So when you're ready, you can go for it, where one leg extends forward, and then your elbow comes into the opposite knee that pulls in towards you. And then we're just going to hold both of the legs out on a diagonal in a leg lift. Low back is rooted to the ground. So if you go super low with your legs, you'll feel the low back arch. And you want to come up above that point where the legs are out, but that low back is rooted. Stay with your breathing. All right, and we're back into our bicycles. Go for it. You got it. Last couple. Take a full morning stretch so legs are all the way out in front of you. Arms are all the way back overhead behind you. And just give a nice roll out through your ankle. Roll out through your wrist. Movement through your fingers. Movement through your toes. Nice. Bring your knees in towards you. Grab your hamstrings. And then we're going to start a rock from the base of the skull up to our sit bones and back. And just take that a few times. Catch your weight up on your sit bones. And we're getting ready to go. We are in boat pose. So lift the chest up nice and tall. Tone your shoulders in. And then we're going to work with in and out. So the movement piece is where your arms are wrapped, your knees are in, you're curving through your spine, and then on your exhales, you're going to open back up. So take that at your own pace. Breathe in, exhale, release out. And when you release out, we really want to lengthen the spine up. Let the shoulders tone in. Okay, and then hold your boat pose. You can do it with your knees bent. You can lengthen the legs. You can grab your hamstrings. You can have the arms open. Either way, lift up to the chest. Let your shoulders tone in towards one another. Stay with your breathing. Nice, back into that movement. You got it. Those inhales, bring it in. Exhales, open back out. Good work through the core, friends. We can cross the ankles and come forward into a tabletop. If you need to grab a drink of water, this might be a good time to grab a drink of water as well. And in your tabletop, at your own pace, just find cat and find cow. So cow is that bowing through the spine, dropping the belly, lifting the chest, tilting the tailbone up. And cat is that rounding, dropping the tailbone, releasing the head, mid-back up high. And just take it at your own pace. You can do any side to side or back and forth movement that feels good to you here. Find a neutral, flat back, hands and knees. Start to reach your right leg back behind you in space. And then reach and extend your left arm out forward to the front of the room. Gaze is down to the ground. And then we'll bend the right knee, bring the heel to your sit bone, and reach the left hand back to the top of the foot. This might be an energetic connection or it might be a physical grab. If we can connect to the foot, you can start to kick the foot into the hand as you pull back on it. Have a slight lift up through your chest with some length through the back of the neck. Stay with your breathing. One more breath into it. And on the exhale, open back out and extend. Bring your left hand down. Keep the right leg lifted. Tuck your left toes. We're going three-legged down dog, so just lift the hips back and up in space. Awesome. On your exhale, step the right foot up to the outside of your right hand for runner's lunge. Left foot can go a little bit back and a little bit to the left. Have your knee right over your heel in space. Stay on your hands or start to lower the elbows to a block or a blanket if you've got one of those, or just down to the ground. And then we could keep the back knee lifted for more intensity. You could also rest it to the ground for more support. With it lifted, that's the version I'm taking right here, the focus is on not leaning to the left or leaning to the right, but that you're squaring the hips towards the ground and then towards the front of the room. And then the head gets to take a little bit of a break here. You could turn your right toes slightly out to the right so the inside of your foot's facing a little more forward. Your knees right over your heel, and you're just staying with your breath, friends. From your forearms, lift up to your hands. We're taking this into a low lunge position, so just heel toe your right foot back to center. And if your back knee is to the ground, you're going to tuck the back toes and lift your back left knee off of the ground. From here, gaze comes slightly up in space, and we're going to lift all the way up into our one-legged mountain. So bringing the arms and bringing the left knee with us. Fantastic. So for Natarajasana dancer's pose, right arm remains lifted, but drop the left arm down at your side so the belly of your left forearm is facing to the left. And then you're going to bend your left knee, bring your left heel to your sit bone, and then reach your hand back for the foot. So you're going to work with the inside edge of the foot. Draw your knees in towards one another, and then start to kick the foot into the hand so it gets pulled back as you lean forward. And just like airplane, your chest is smiling up to the front of the room. And if you were looking at yourself in a mirror, you're looking for your arm, you're looking for your leg to disappear behind your left side body. Fantastic. Last couple rounds of breath. Come back to our one-legged mountain on an inhale. And on your exhale, you're going to move through airplane to a low lunge position, taking the foot down, the hands down. For pigeon, just walk your right foot over to the left. This is half pigeon. And then we'll drop the right knee over to the right. You can have the top of your right foot or the side of the right foot to the ground. Left leg is directly back behind us. You can walk it back a little bit. And then you can press into your fingertips, lift up to your chest, draw that deep breath in. And as you exhale, just bring it down onto your forearms. Lower your head down to the ground or lower your head down onto a block or to your hands. Right knee is to the outside of your right side body. And then your hips are squared down towards the ground. The top of your left shin, left thigh, front of your left hip are pointing down to the ground. And you're just working with that breathing. Lift up through your chest. Press into your hands. Tuck the left toes, and then we'll reach the right leg back to a plank. You can go right to down dog, or you could drop halfway down. Inhale, upward facing dog, and then have that meeting point back in your down dog. Find a nice stretch out the spine, down through the back of the legs. And then we'll bring it down into our tabletop position. So with the last tabletop, we started by reaching our right leg back in space. So with this one, start to reach your left leg back in space. And then start to let your right arm reach forward, gaze is down. Press back through your heel, reach forward through the fingertips. And then for the bind, bend your back left knee, heel to sit bone, and reach your right hand back for the top of the foot. Gently kick the foot into the hand as you lift up through your chest. Back knee lifts up in space. So although not exactly the same as Natarajasana, this has some similarities to it, where you're making a little bit of a bow through your spine. Your gaze is up towards the front, although you're not lifting your chin up. You've still got the length through the back of the neck. The heart is smiling forward. Breathe into it, friends. And on an exhale, open up, extend. Leave the left leg lifted, but bring your right hand down to the ground. Tuck your right toes if they're not there, and then lift back up, three-legged down dog. Left leg pulls back and up in space. Breathe in, and on your exhale, take the left foot to the outside of your left hand. So we come into our runner's lunge. And then your right foot could go a little bit back, a little bit to the right. You can stay on your palms or start to work your elbows down to the ground or down to a block or blanket if you're working with a prop. If you kept the back knee lifted on the other side, keep it lifted on this side. Or if you set it down, let's bring it to the floor. Left knee right above left heel. Your left toes might turn a little bit out to the side so the front of the inside of the foot is facing forward. And then just walking that you're not sinking down into that right hip. It's lifted up on level with your left hip. And feeling that press down through your left hand, your left forearm, your left elbow. That's where that stretch really comes into place. We meet up in low lunge. So lifting back up to your hands and heel toeing that left foot back and in. And if the back right knee is down, lifting the back right knee. Gaze comes up, and then we're moving all the way up to one-legged mountain, bringing arms and right knee with us. From one-legged mountain, we find our dancer. So drop the right hand down at your side while left arm is lifted. The belly of your right forearm faces to the right. So bring the right heel to the right sit bone and grab the inside of the foot. Thumb has the bottom, fingers have the top. And then tone your thighs into one another and engage your bind. So kick and pull between the right foot and the right hand. Find that object in front of you that's not moving. Stay playful with your balance. Big left toe has a little bit of a grip down to it. And again, if you were looking at yourself in a mirror, you're looking for that right arm to disappear behind your shoulder and that right knee to disappear behind your hip. Last couple rounds of breath here. Inhale back up into our one-legged mountain. And on your exhale, you'll swim through airplane all the way back into a low lunge position. Tapping hands and right foot down. And then from that low lunge, just walk your left foot over to the right side of your mat. Drop your left knee over to the left. Again, side of your foot or top of the foot to the ground. Right leg directly behind us, top of the foot to the floor. You can take a lift up through your chest here. And then when you're ready for it, lower down onto your forearms, bringing the head down to a block or to the ground or to your stacked hands. Top of your right shin, right thigh, and then the front of your right hip, all pointing down to the ground. So watch that we're not sinking and dropping down into that left hip. Front of your hips are square towards the floor. Use that breathing. Awesome. Press into your hands. Lift up through your chest. Tuck the back right toes and step your left foot back into plank. Shift directly to down dog or lower halfway down. Inhale, upward facing dog. Tuck your toes and find our final down dog. From here, we're just going to bring our way down onto our backs. So you can lower down to your tabletop. Swing your legs forward. Take the weight down onto your back. Draw your knees to your chest. Wrap your arms around your knees. And just give yourself a little rock side to side. Just massaging out your hips. Massaging out your sacrum and your low back. Plant the feet to the floor at hip bone distance from one another. Step your heels back towards you till they're underneath your knees. And then pressing into your triceps, lift up through the hips for bridge pose. We can interlace our fingers at the knuckles today. Let the biceps roll onto the outside of the biceps. And then reach the knuckles towards the heels as you press down into the arms. Weight of the head is released. Feel your big toes rooted to the ground, pressing to the floor, lifting up through the hips, and finding that breathing. Take one more inhale to lift. And then vertebrae by vertebrae, just release it down. Take those knees back into your chest and find a happy baby. Peace sign fingers to your big toes or hands to the edges of your feet. Knees out wide. Soles of the feet just pointing to the sky. So their ankles are stacked above the knees, and as you pull down on the frame, get your low back into the ground or close to the ground as you rock a little side to side, sway a little side to side. You can release the feet and start to stack your knees off to the left so the hips roll onto the outside edge of your left hip. Reach your right arm to the right, and then turn your gaze out to the right. Let your left hand gently draw down on the top and outside of that right knee. And then just enjoy your breath in this twist, where that exhale just rolls through and allows you to release a little bit deeper into it. And then we'll just switch things out. So roll onto your back and then just take your knees now off to the right. Left arm out to the left. Right hand gently drawing the knees closer towards one another. And as you come out of this twist, just bring your knees back into your chest and give yourself a little more of that rocking, massaging out your hips, your low back, and your sacrum. And then we can move into our final resting pose, our corpse posture, Shavasana. So just extending the legs out in front of you, letting the weight of the feet just relax open, releasing the arms at your sides, letting the palms point up to the sky. And then close through your eyes here. And you can let go of controlling your breath at this point and just let your body take back over on the breathing. And the idea is as you create physical stillness. You are inviting your mind and you're inviting your emotions into this deeper place of stillness, this deeper place of peace. Now one love with one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, give thanks and praise for the world, and I will feel alright. Well, now let's get together and feel alright. Well, let's get together to fight this holy Armageddon. For when the end comes, there will be, well, no doom. Have pity on those whose chances grow thinner. For there ain't no hiding place from the mother of creation, saying, one love, one heart, let's get together and feel alright. One love, one heart, will give thanks and praise for the world, and I will feel alright. Well, now let's get together and feel alright. So just start to bring some life back into your body. Wiggling through fingers and toes, reaching the arms back overhead behind you, moving into your ankles and your wrists. And then roll the weight onto your side into a fetal position, just curling up, relaxing, and finding a deeper breath. And for the last part of class, we're going to meet up like we were going to do a seated meditation. So on your sit bones, cross-legged, or just whatever pose feels best to you. If you're on your sit bones, we want to find the front edge of the sit bones, pulling the flesh away and stepping back. And then from there, you can inhale to reach your arms wide, stretch up tall. And on your exhale, just bring your hands down into your heart center, thumbs to your sternum. Weight of the head can release. Friends, the light in me greets the light in you. Much love. Namaste.